Okay. All right. I think we are live. All right, guys. Welcome back to our weekly Sunday Ask Me Anything session. Well, the beauty about this Sunday session, I think it is turning into a very interesting weekly conversational kind of chit chat that we can have together. Is it when it comes to digital marketing, Facebook advertising? This is really a very, how to say, rapidly evolving industry. Like last week we had training. We talk about how do we use what we call the new Facebook ads objective lineup. You see, like now, if you're having the old version, we have 11 objectives available, right? Now, where we have a newer version, we actually have 6 objectives available, and fundamentally nothing changed. Is it That's the reason why a lot of people are kind of like worried. Like, our good friend Chiwai was really excited about that as well because he kind of find it confusing as well. But here's the thing about the objective is, in fact, they are just reorganizing things. But I guess what is really useful is to understand what is really Facebook trying to do. I mean, behind all these changes, I think this is really something that I have been really interested in the past 1 month. I don't know, man. Now we are entering June. It's really the last month of the first half of 2022, and in the blink of an eye, this really, like, I don't know. Time flies. We are already entering the second half of the year, and my question remain here is to myself and to any one of you out there. I think it's really about how's your progress? How is our progress leading up to the goal that we set out for 2022? You see, every year we set goals, right? And eventually we forget about it. And this is really something that I believe I've been trying to change. That's why every year now I actually keep a very simple goal. Like, instead of building something that is like, oh, I'm going to achieve something like this. I want to have a percentage of growth like this and all that. I keep very simple growth, and instead of focusing on what do we call the numbers, right? I tend to focus a lot more on the internal growth that I can actually achieve for myself, for the organization, and for the community that I'm actually serving right now. Like, May was a crazy month. I don't know about you. May was a crazy month because of a few things. I think first thing first, it was a very slow month. So because of that, I was given the opportunity to have a lot of us, reflection moments, as not just moments. We had a period of reflection where I was really looking inward and look at how can we change how we do things. That's why one thing that I'm really glad that we came out through May was I finally, kind of like finalize the 3 main areas that we're focusing on right now. I think you can actually refer back to the last AMA, the last episode of Ask Me Anything on last Sunday. I talk about the 3 main areas that we are offering coaching services right now, whereby, the first one is Facebook ads, analytical and strategic building, as in like strategy. So what we work together is we build your strategy and I will teach you how to analyze. So the learning is really for those who really want to use Facebook ads to level up. So that's one part. That was first ethical perspective, which is to help you, really see potential of your campaign in a more effective way. So that's one part, and the other part is the YouTube coaching, which I believe, I don't know about you, man. Seriously, if you're still on the fence or about creating content, I think it's really a very important thing that you have to start looking into. Like the other day, I was just talking to a bunch of so-called artists. I was in an art market. It's like a crazy art market that media right now, and the locations, and not just locations, as in like platforms, tools to use, do something meaningful that can last for long. I'm not saying that you need to be on all platforms, but that's the best thing. If you have the team and the capacity, then, well, the best is to be on all platforms. But if you can't, I would say focus on a few that you can kind of like handle. Like, one thing I would say when it comes to social media side, this is from our discussion yesterday, because I think social media side, you can choose to focus on either Facebook or Instagram. I think this is really based on really skewed towards Instagram right now instead of Facebook. I think simply because Facebook is getting a little bit more clunky And because of all the features and tools that have added on the platform, they make it a bit difficult to navigate. Not just that, in fact, some people even find it very complicated, and it takes a lot longer to load right now. I don't know about you, man. That's why people find it a bit confusing. So if you want something simpler than Instagram, but always remember the reason why you want to be on social media is about engaging on Facebook or Instagram or even Twitter or even Instagram and Twitter and even LinkedIn. These are places for you to engage. And engagement plays a very important role. Encounter after the first few encounter, after they found out about you, this is a place that they can come in and observe about what you do day in, day out, and then to build the trust, to build the kind of like nurture them. Hopefully one day they will become your customer. So I think that's how we should look at it. In fact, I don't spend a lot of time on social media. I mean, the only time I spend on social media is really to go live. And this is how I stay in touch and engage with my community. Of course, I'm not saying that this is the best practice or best demonstration of how it should be done, but I guess this is really something that you have to do it based on what you're comfortable with. That's why I am not into daily posting. I'm not into commenting. So I prefer to do a live sessions like this. So I understand that I may push people away. Some people who are more, who prefer more personalized, conversational kind of engagement, then they will find something that I'm more comfortable with. Because after being on social media for 10 odd years, the other day I was just talking to my girlfriend. In fact, we have been on Facebook plus Friendster combined, as in like the social media era. We have been on all these platforms for more than 20 years now. 20 years is really a very important learning that I think we should no longer be bogged down by the vanity metrics or the so-called, what do we call, the urge or the feeling that the need to be engaged in the way that people want us to be. I guess it's really about building a pace that we are more comfortable with. So I do have some people who prefer to be on Instagram because they find Instagram a lot more straightforward and it's a lot simpler to navigate and even for people to start conversation and all that. So I guess choose one or two platforms that you want to use to engage. So that's one part, because this is where people will reach out to you and talk to you and all that. Right now, social media is one thing. The other part is about building your own authority and your content. So the old school way of doing this is really about writing blogs, creating a lot of content, written contents and all that. I'm not saying that this is going away. This is one of the best way for you to build your authority and your content. However, what I want to say here is, if you are not comfortable with writing, like me, I actually started my career back then when I was really starting out in social media marketing and Facebook advertising. I actually was a blogger. And to a certain point, I was even invited to events because I was having some community back then. But then again, I realized I couldn't continue because I don't know, man. Seriously, writing is really not my thing. I find it very, very difficult to churn out a long form of content, and even because of all the work coming in, I find it a lot more difficult to keep up with the pace. So I gave up, and in fact, I stopped for a very long time because when I was building my agency, building my campaign, building my my company, I was really letting go and all this. But at the same time, I was hiring some people or agencies to help me build my SEO. Of course, there were some juices coming in, but then again, I realized SEO using text-based content is a bit difficult. This is really based on my own personal learning. I'm not saying that this is really the definitive that you have to follow what I say, but it's really something that I kind of like can't really do well. Then because of the pandemic, I started my YouTube channel and I realized, hey, I'm a lot more comfortable to talk like this. Like now, I've been talking for 10 minutes now without any script. I was just yamming away, and this is really something that I'm very natural with. So I realized, hey, this is a way for me to create content. So I guess the reason why you want to also look at the content perspective of things is because this is how people would quietly first content, whether it's text-based or video-based, it allows Google to find you. And you have to always remember, right? When we talk about a moment of truth, the zero moment of truth, I don't know how Manfred puts it. It's like when I see your advertisement before I want to buy from you, or I want to make sure that I want to find out more about you first, right? So eventually I would actually Google you. I would not go to Facebook and find out more about a company that I see. Because I know this could be from them. But I would go to Google and see if there's anything else that can help me convince myself. You see, this is really something that is a bit interesting to talk about, which is I think people sell to themselves instead of we try to sell them. So you have to have that kind of journey to make people feel that okay, I'm sold. Like if you go and find out Facebook advertising, if you stumble upon any of my videos, then if you come back to my channel, then you'll be like, okay, now 800 over videos, definitely there must be some one or two videos that can really convince you that I am the person or not. It's either or, yes and not, right? So to work with for your Facebook advertising journey. So you got to think about how can you actually build this kind of journey. So basically two routes, right? You can go back to the conventional route, which is to do content. I'm not saying that it's not working. Like, the other day I was listening to Neil Patel's, like podcast. He's still writing crazy content, long form content, because that's how Neil Patel built his reputation and his brand name throughout the past 20 years. So now he's one of the most influencer digital marketer in the world. And he built his reputation through that. And after that, of course, he started to venture into YouTube videos and podcasts as well. So these are all the content that he's creating to help keep himself at the top of the game. So for you, here is this. What I can say here is, if you want to really build your organic traffic in the fastest way ever, I think it's really about you have to really look at YouTube as a very important platform that you want to leverage on. Because first thing first, video content is a lot more easier to consume right now. I assume that more people are more into reading than listening to reading, because video has got two things. It's either if you want to demonstrate something you can show, or if you want to actually if you want to talk about something that you don't really need to demonstrate, that people can just let it play and listen to you. So yeah, it makes it a lot easier for people to consume your content instead of text, because you just have to imagine, right? If I want to read an article, especially it's a long form article, I need to let go a lot of things. My cost is high, I need to make sure that I stop staring on my phone because I need to look at this article alone, right? And I will have to make sure that my girlfriend doesn't come to talk to me, or my phone doesn't ring, because the focus is there. And because of our life right now, distractions happens all the time. So if you are doing video, then I can still listen to the thing. Best deal if you do podcast, I can still listen to what you have got to say while I'm actually typing email and all that. So I would say podcast is another different game, right? I'm not saying that podcast is not useful. Podcast is useful only for your warm audiences, but I guess the strategy is a little bit different. But if you want to build your organic traffic fast, YouTube is really the most important thing they have to look into. And the best part is YouTube advertising is the next class that I'll be launching next week. So I've been using YouTube advertising. Facebook advertising is my core, but I've been using YouTube advertising to attract high quality audience into my universe. Because one of the things here is, I'm not saying that when it comes to YouTube advertising, is not only the so-called annoying first 15 seconds or 5 seconds kind of video that you have to endure every time you want to watch a YouTube video, right? That's just one part of the advertising. But there are different forms of YouTube advertising that can really help you get really high quality audience. Like one thing I use a lot is I can actually target people who are Googling or YouTubing for certain keyword to look at my video. So let's say, for example, if you Google Facebook advertising analytics or analyze Facebook ads results, if you ever do that, the next time you come back to YouTube, you might see my video. Now, I have two choices to display my advertisement to you. It's either through the 5 seconds thing, or I can actually have the discovery advertisement, which is very powerful because I make those people feel that they found me. And because they search for certain keyword, the intention is really high. So when I am able to attract these people into my universe, the likelihood of keeping them, first thing, nurturing them, second thing, and maybe getting them ready to buy from me, it's very, very high. So this is really a very proven method or framework that you can spend very minimal. To be frank, I spend very, very little. And my ROAS is actually at the range of like 20 to 30, to be frank, ROAS. And what I want to teach you in this program here is it's gonna be a live workshop. So basically, I'm gonna teach you how I run YouTube ads. So in fact, that's what I'll be doing moving forward, because other than completing the coaching framework, which is 3 main pillars of coaching, moving forward, the training part of the company, as in like what we do day in, day out, not day in, day out, regularly, I'll be teaching niche topics, as in like instead of general Facebook advertising, which I think you can find like thousands or even if not hundreds, if not thousands of courses out there talking about general Facebook advertising. But I guess general Facebook advertising is something that people already know. You have learned about this. You have probably tried a lot of your own method to run Facebook ads. But I think what I want to dive deep into is I want to go very specific on how to use certain things. Like last week, we talk about the what do we call the ODEX, objective driven advertising experience, which is the new Facebook ads, like the objective lineup, which is a very meaningful training. 1.5 hour, we dive very deep on one specific topic, and you get better understanding about one thing. So moving forward, what are the things that we'll be teaching? YouTube advertising, okay, TikTok advertising, all right, and we will be also talking about Facebook custom audience to go very specific on custom audience. And the other one is we will also talk about strategy building. When I talk about strategy building here, is like, how do we build a journey where I want to drive people from Google, for example, and then I use Facebook to retarget them, how to connect these two things together. Or I can do it the other way around, is I can actually use YouTube, which is, like for me, I use a lot of my YouTube content as my top of funnel kind of like user acquisition, because a lot of people found me through YouTube because they were looking for something. And because of my channel, I actually get quite good traction from YouTube. So after that, after they watch my video, right, I probably want to show them something else, to nurture them for the next step. All right. So we can also cross over to like places like TikTok. I think that's something that I'll be paying a lot more attention about, how to connect TikTok audience to Facebook and Instagram, and even to connect them to YouTube, which is to build a more holistic journey for our audience to nurture themselves, to get themselves ready to become a customer. I think that's something that we have to look into instead of just plain Facebook ads, like Google ads. I mean, connecting things together, I think is really something that is very important. So moving forward, we'll be doing a lot more training based on that. So I guess that's something that you want to pay attention to. So next week, I mean, like a few days down the road, we'll be launching our first specific series kind of training. The first one is definitely going to be YouTube advertising. So if you want to look at how you can leverage on this high quality audience to really activate your digital advertising journey in a more meaningful way, you want to watch out to my email. So I'll be launching this via email. So if you are not on my email list, please go to my tribeupacademy.com and sign up to any of my free training or free programs or free courses at my footer. And then you'll be in my universe, and I'll be informing you whenever I have new stuff coming along. Okay, so yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the question coming from Dion. So Dion is asking, Dion Lee, hi. I hope you're still here. Sorry, I was talking about this and I didn't realize that there's a question coming up. Sorry about this. So Dion is asking, thinking of going into advertising. All right, welcome. Do you have any advice, such as going into an agency, boutique, or large? Very good question, Dion. I hope you're still here. I guess let's take the journey a little bit. I mean, back then I was running a boutique agency. All right. So I would say, if you want to ask me the differences between boutique and large agency, is I think boutique agency, you probably can get better attention. All right. Because boutique agency, usually they are smaller. But then again, they may have to, I don't know, man. Seriously, it depends on the agency. So I guess bigger agency would be definitely, they have a lot more standard procedure, and they can definitely give you a different kind of like resources, because of their cumulative ad spend is a lot bigger. They probably have different kind of bargaining power with Google and Facebook. So that's one thing. But then again, also, if you have a bigger team, then they may not have a very equal quality of so-called the account manager. So I've actually seen some big agency with some account manager that don't really know what they are talking about. So they may not be able to lead you to the right direction. But whereas boutique agency may be able to give you a different kind of advice, because usually boutique agency are more niche. Like back then, we were really niche. We were into really like lead generation and e-commerce. So really, really niche. So if you're not within our niche, then probably you won't be able to work with us, because you won't be able to leverage on our expertise to achieve meaningful one. But here's my take, Dion. Whether you want to go on an agency, like going for boutique agency or large agency, I would say the first step is for you to understand Facebook advertising or TikTok advertising or YouTube advertising or any advertising yourself, because you want to understand before you let somebody else handle it for you, because you want to make sure that you're on top of things. You want to make sure that you understand things. You want to make sure that you know what they're talking about. I think that's really something that is quite important, because I've seen so many clients, like brand owners, managers, when they are handling things over to their agency, they are in the dark. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's working. They don't know what's not. So I would say you don't really need to do this yourself. I mean, the whole idea here is you want to learn this to let it go. What about that? You want to learn this so that you can safely and happily let it go, because whatever they do, you're on top of things. I think it's not that difficult. You see, this is really something that we have been doing in the past, as in like helping brands understanding. Really, I mean, from the core of what we do is Facebook advertising. So really understand Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising, knowing what should be done, what shouldn't be done, and how to navigate. And that will prepare you to be a better client, for an agency, to help you understand what's working, what's not. I think that's something you should look into. So if you want to, go through this learning with me, there are some courses available on my website, troublebreakacademy.com. But if you want to work with me on one-on-one, I understand some people don't want to. I don't want to go through the learning. Might as well you teach me one-on-one. That's the reason why we launched our YouTube. I mean, like our so-called Facebook ads, YouTube, and framework building, 3 main pillars of coaching. So Facebook ads coaching is really something that I've been doing for the longest time. So a lot of clients have gone through the learning. It's really, really powerful to help you learn within 3 weeks or 4. So if you want to get into that, you can drop me a message on Facebook page. Just go to my Facebook page and just drop me a message, or you can actually go to my website and sign up as an inquiry or something like that. Just let me know. Just get in touch, and we will guide you through how can we, like understand each other, schedule a call, talk about this, and how can we work together. So that's something that I will recommend, Dion. I hope I answered the question. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, now, all right, so we have 7 minutes down. So I guess I'm just going to quickly go back into the questions that I've captured. In fact, I think generally May was a very slow month, so we didn't have a lot of questions. But I can see my traffic to my YouTube channel is kind of like coming back. So I expect hopefully, more questions coming in the next week or beyond. But then again, I think today we want to quickly look at a few things. So if you are still with me, thank you for watching or listening to the podcast. I guess, probably want to let you know what you are in right now. You are actually watching or listening to my Ask Me Anything Sunday session, which happens every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time. So what I do here is I answer questions about Facebook advertising and digital marketing that I captured on my YouTube channel and other places. So basically what we do here is if you have any questions, you can post on my any of my YouTube channel on my what do we call my YouTube channel, and then any videos on that, and I'll be able to like bring it over and answer them over here. All right, before we go into that, we have Stanley here. Stanley is my Jason Nation member. Your T2 is still not working. Can I help and take a look? Sure. I mean, I will help and take a look. But then again, Stanley, remember during our one-on-one session the other day, I also advised you about the steps that you do. So I hope you have done all the steps. And once you have done it, let's wait for a day or two. Then let's see how it goes. But nonetheless, I think this is really, let's bring it back to Jason Nation, because and in this kind of very technical discussion goes back into the Jason Nation itself. All right, Stanley, thanks for dropping by. So just want to quickly update about you guys about my podcast. If you're not already listening to my podcast, you can actually go to this QR code, bring out your phone, scan this QR code, and follow me on my podcast, because I actually slowed down a bit in the last 1 week or two, like a couple of weeks, in the last couple of weeks, because I was really into learning. I was learning on steroid back then. I mean, because of, I don't know, man. When was the last time you really feel like you really want to learn something, like you are like a kindergarten kid or like a primary school kid? You really feel like, oh, I'm so passionate about learning something about this. I'm going through this stage right now, learning on something that I didn't imagine that I would get into. So something wrong with my screen. So something wrong with my screen just now. We pop up a little bit. So okay, now but nonetheless, the Small Biz Marketing Podcast has been around for a while, and I think we have about 60 over episodes right now. Some meaningful content in there. So go over, just just listen to any episode or any topics that might interest you. So yeah, just listen to them. And if you want to learn more and you want to work together with me more, just drop me a message on my Facebook page. Okay, right. I have a couple of questions over here. So I think the first question I get in from I get is from Charanjit. Charanjit asked a question about the edit button. So is it like when you want to build a business manager, a Facebook business manager, you need to have a primary page. You need to set a primary Facebook page, then only you can start advertising on using business manager. Start using the full thing of the user manager. So if you want to change your primary page, I think you want to go back to this video. I don't want to follow, I don't want to redo this again, sorry, right, Charanjit? But then again, if you are already commenting on this video of mine, this video shows you how to change primary Facebook page for a business manager. So it's actually not very difficult. So basically, Charanjit is saying that your edit button is missing for you when you want to try to change your primary. Two possible reasons. First reason is you are not a full admin of the business manager. That's why you can't change. So the easiest way is to get to a person who are a full admin and ask him or her to give you full admin access to the Facebook page or the Facebook business manager. Then you'll be able to do this change. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing here is probably your page or your business manager is locked from doing any editing. So either one of these possibility can lead to your current situation that you're saying that your edit button is missing. So try to find out and see whether like there's anything happening. But nonetheless, if you need help, right, seriously, Facebook concierge is just one button away. They are getting very friendly right now, trying to solve your problem. So I guess you can actually just go into your business manager. There should be a way that you can actually, like, I'm just going to quickly walk you through, right? Go into your business manager. This is the business suite. This is not a business manager. So this is a business manager. You go all the way down. There is this question mark. I mean, on the bottom left, there is this question mark button. So you click on the question mark button. It will lead you to a panel that you can actually start a conversation with Facebook. So basically, yeah, I mean, there's something over there anyway. So it's not showing up, but go for something that chat with Facebook or something like that, which you will open up, a conversation window that you can actually talk to Facebook representative about your challenges and they will help you solve. So yeah, so that's something that you should be doing. All right, Charanjit, thanks for the question. Then the next one is coming from Sawadogo, on commenting on my video about how to automate Facebook lead to MailerLite via Zapier. I think this is really something that I believe all Facebook advertisers or anyone who is running ads to generate leads on Facebook and Instagram must really look into, because nowadays, I mean, consumers or customers or prospects are getting more and more demanding, especially over the accelerated digital evolution, which is AKA the pandemic, right? We experience so much, evolution or so much growth or so much changes in digital advertising and marketing. We are very much aware about how an advertisement work and how the journey works. So if I'm submitting my info to you, I'm expecting you to respond to me as soon as possible, if not yesterday, if not a minute ago. So you want to make sure that there's some automation in place, and you want to make sure that you get in touch with them as soon as you can. So Zapier is a tool that we've been using. So I would still recommend and vouch for Zapier. So basically, Zapier is an automation tool. It's like a connection and a glue in between platforms or tools to help you achieve something fast and quick and easily. So if you have not experienced Zapier, just go to zapier.com and see how you can actually use the connection. So yeah, so that's something that you should be doing. All right. Okay, now these are all the comments and questions I get. Like I say, not a lot, but I guess it's okay. Sometimes we have a lot of questions, sometimes we don't, but that's what I do. I am committed. I mean, yeah, I'm committed to come back here on every Sunday night to at least chit chat with you, or to share with you the latest changes, or to share with you what I have gone through, and of course to update you about my latest courses or trainings or workshops and any programs that is coming up. So yeah, stay in touch. If you want to be part of the community, just subscribe to my YouTube channel or go to my my website, travelacademy.com. Scroll to the bottom, the footer, and see if there is any free trainings available there that you might be interested in. Just sign up, and basically you'll be in my mailing list, and you'll be receiving emails from me about my latest updates in terms of courses, programs, and whatnot. So yeah. So with that, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's another Sunday night. And you guys have a wonderful week ahead. And this is it for tonight. I'll see you next Sunday at 10 p.m. same time. Thank you and good night. Bye bye.